Okay, I know the title is very jarring. I'm sure there's vegans that are freaking out right now. When I say vegans, I mean the judgy, purist, extremist, militant vegans. But hear me out. I come in peace. Hello, I'm also vegan. I actually just hit my 5-year vegan anniversary, so that's exciting. But today, I wanted to talk about vegans and how annoying we are. I think it's important to, be able to laugh at yourself and criticize your own community. And honestly, a goal of mine this year was to talk more about veganism and maybe helping you guys transition into eating more plant-based foods and just talk a bit about that more on my channel, because I think for a while I really shied away from making vegan content because let's be real, in like 2014 to like 2016, I'd say, there was a very toxic online vegan community, and I honestly just didn't really want to be associated with that. I used to make like what I eat in a day videos and kind of like dabble into it, but I always really held back my opinion on it just because I didn't want to be controversial or upset anyone or anything like that. But I got some things to say. So what actually finally sparked me to sit down and to film this video, this morning I was scrolling on Twitter, good old Twitter, and I came across this video where there was someone here at a restaurant, a vegan restaurant here in Toronto, and I believe it was another customer. Like, this person said they weren't the manager, they weren't, I don't think, an employee of the restaurant, but it was another customer who was criticizing another customer who had just gone into the restaurant because they were wearing fur on their jacket. And basically, person number one kind of shamed person number two for entering the establishment while having fur lining on their jacket. And person number two even admitted that they weren't vegan, they were just with their friend or whoever they were with was vegan and they were trying it out. But anyways, person number two and their friend got so uncomfortable they ended up leaving. And unfortunately, this really isn't the first type of video like that I've seen before. And it's just so frustrating to me because I find people either like that or people in the online space that are just so militant or shaming to others who aren't vegan. It's very hurtful to the whole vegan movement, I think, in itself. And it's odd to me because this whole vegan lifestyle is supposed to be based off of compassion. And to me, if you don't even have compassion for fellow humans, then I think you're doing vegan wrong. Anyways, I know people are gonna come back and say, well, she shouldn't have worn fur to a vegan establishment. Personally, I'm of the belief if someone who isn't vegan wants to try a vegan restaurant, that's cool. I think the more the merrier, the more inclusive and less militant you can be about something, the better it is. And I mean, ultimately, you don't even know, like, maybe their jacket was like secondhand or a hand-me-down, or I don't know. There's just so many variables that I just think it's so uncalled for people to yell at other people and be so mean about it. Long story long, that whole situation just really, pushed me to finally sit down and film this video, because I think I'm doing veganism or eating plant-based or any of that, like, I think I'm doing it a disservice by being quiet about it and by not talking about it, just because I'm afraid to be painted as that specific small category of people. And I think ultimately, there's a lot of chill vegans out there.
Thumbs this video up if you're a chill vegan.
Like, I think most people are pretty cool, but it's unfortunate that a very small percentage gets to kind of talk for everyone else and be the forefront of the movement or of the vegan lifestyle, whatever you want to call it. So I just kind of wanted to put this out there and hopefully offer people a different perspective, maybe people who are vegan or aren't vegan, a different perspective of what being vegan is. I don't know, this sounds kind of weird already. First off, one thing that I find so annoying about vegans, and when I say vegans, I mean that small like 5% of vegan extremists that are like vegan purists and just, those vegans. I find so annoying that there's that whole holier than thou attitude. And I feel like I've always tried to be very conscious to not be like that, because I would never want to make anyone else feel uncomfortable about their choices or what they're eating, just as I wouldn't want anyone to, give it back to me and make me feel uncomfortable about what I'm eating or what I'm doing. So it's really frustrating that some vegans have that superiority complex where they think they are like, a gift to the world. And not that I'm saying, of course, there's vegan activists and people that, do great things for the environment or for the animals or for whatever. But I just think it's so unproductive when people talk down to those who are not vegan, or even just people who are dabbling into like eating plant-based or into the lifestyle. When people come at it with a very like purist approach, and this is even speaking from my perspective, like I'm the first to admit it, it's very easy to kind of lie online and paint this perfect picture. I'm the first to admit it, I am not a perfect vegan by any means. I'm still learning and growing and making changes to my lifestyle. I mean, in my situation, I found changing my food to eating vegan very simple and very easy to do. And like I said, I've been eating vegan for so long now that it's something that I don't even think about. But for me, a place that I struggle is my lifestyle choices. I mean, I still have a leather jacket that I've had for years that I just can't seem to get rid of. And I have products that maybe aren't made in ethical places and things like that. There's obviously a huge variety of lifestyle changes that, you know, leading a more vegan lifestyle is supposed to inspire and change and just make you conscious of your choices. So yeah, I'm the first to admit I am nowhere near perfect, and the vegan purists can come at me. I mean, I'm sure there's, you know, bug secretion made in the glue to hang these photos up, and I'm sure the glass of that jar wasn't made ethically. Of course, you can always go a step further. And don't get me wrong, I think it's important to, you know, self-reflect and maybe provide constructive criticism in certain places. But I just think there is nothing good coming from people that point a finger and yell at people, whether they're vegan or non-vegan, and say, you're not doing good enough, you should be doing this is wrong, you're a horrible person, blah, 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 blah. It's just, oh my God, who wants to read all that? It's so frustrating. I can't really ever think of a situation where someone has shamed me into something or yelled at me enough to motivate me to change in a positive way. I just don't believe that coming at something with such a negative, from a negative place, that it ever would inspire anything positive. So I just think there's way more productive ways to get the message across, whether you want to inspire change in others or educate people. I mean, we can all just play nice, you know? I don't know why that's so hard. And this is what's the craziest thing. It's like, I truly just don't get how you can be so mean to other people, but at the same time, you're preaching, be nice to the earth, be nice to the animals. It's just so backwards to me. I don't know. So those are definitely some more serious, but I feel valid criticisms to have towards that specific group of people. But on a more lighthearted note, there are so many other annoying things that us vegans do, and I'm definitely guilty of some of these. Luckily, I have evolved and grown. I think everyone's like first year being vegan or of discovering like eating plant-based or a vegan lifestyle, there's definitely a period in time where you do transform into like an annoying vegan in the sense that you want to educate everyone. I felt like I discovered this secret about like the dairy industry, and I was like so bamboozled about the fact that no one else knew about this or that we weren't taught some of this stuff in school. So there was definitely a point in time where all I could talk about was veganism and being vegan, and I think my identity was very, very tied to that, which I think is the most boring thing. I mean, who wants to talk about being vegan all the time? I sure don't. I feel like I kind of lost my train of thought, so this might be a little off topic, but I think back to the time when I kind of first discovered what veganism was. I must have been like 14 or 15 maybe. It would have been like 2012, 2013, I think. And for me, I saw, there was a few people that I looked up to, one of them being Lauren Toyota, who, if you don't know, Hot for Food blog here on YouTube, but what are you doing? I used to watch her on Much Music. She was a VJ. Her and Phoebe actually were both vegan. And I think I followed them on Instagram, and I would see them like hashtag what a vegan eats and things like that. And I always was like, what is vegan? Like, I just didn't really understand it at the time. And I was vegetarian actually at the time and still thought that veganism was super weird and this like very restrictive and like crazy diet, and I just didn't get it at all. But that's because I wasn't educated about it. And but for me, it was those people who were role models to me, and I was like, oh, they have like a really good vibe, I like what they're about, they're inspiring, maybe I'll just like check out what vegan is, or like why they're so passionate about this, or like why this is a big part of their life. And for me, it was very much like a personal kind of curiosity thing that kind of eventually snowballed and led me into, you know, reading so many different articles and watching different documentaries and blah, 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 blah. Eventually kind of coming to my own decision that I wanted to try it out and that it seemed to make a lot of sense for me. And for me, I initially went vegan because of like health reasons. Not that I was like dying or had a sickness or anything, but just because I, you know, didn't feel good after I ate dairy or eggs. And for me at the time, I was like I said, 14, and I was so confused because I thought, I'm 14, I should be the healthiest I've ever been. Like, I'm young and thriving. Like, why do I feel so awful after I eat cheese or something like that? So for me, it just kind of was, I wanted to improve my day-to-day lifestyle and my day-to-day health. But obviously, you know, the choice to go vegan, I think, comes from so many different places, whether you want to reduce the negative effect that animal agriculture has on the environment, or to save the animals, or to, I don't know, I feel like those are the main three reasons: health, environment, and animals. I'm probably missing a ton of others, but whatever, you get the point. So I don't know, I just think that I would want to be that for someone else. Like, I would want it to come from a positive place, and for someone to kind of learn about it and discover it and see if they're interested in it on their own, versus, you know, shaming someone into it. That's just, I don't think that's the move. It's 2019, can't we all just be nice to each other, you know? I just believe that it's so much more influential to show someone rather than to tell someone. And I think if you're showing someone that you're living a positive and happy lifestyle and you also happen to be vegan, that's gonna be way more influential than someone who is a militant vegan and is yelling at someone and is being very negative and just spewing out this, I don't know, bad energy. And like, who would want to be that? Be like, oh yeah, now I want to go vegan. I want to be just like that. Said no one ever. Another annoying thing about vegans is when we try to convince other people that our food, our mock food and mock meat is delicious, which, hey, don't come for me. I know there's some great substitutions out there. Beyond Meat burgers, very delicious. I love them. But let's be real, there's some pretty funky vegan cheeses out there. They smell like chemicals and battery acid, or they're just like a very weird texture. There's some bad vegan cheeses out there. We can all admit it. There's some good ones, but I have had my fair share of disgusting vegan cheeses for sure. And the sad part is, I think now that I, have gone like 5 years without eating cheese, I sometimes just accept the awful substitutions and I'm like, it like kind of tastes like cheese and I'll just accept it, but we gotta stop doing that. It's also just very confronting when I think there's a great substitution, or like I've made this amazing vegan replica and I'll be like, look at this vegan grilled cheese. This is delicious. It tastes just like a Kraft single. And then I feed it to my friend and they're like, this tastes like melted plastic. So there's that. I feel like every vegan says, your taste buds change when you go vegan. But I think that's just, a way to say that we accept the disgusting substitutions and we just kind of have to deal with it. I do feel really lucky though, being in 2019 and having so many vegan options now. Like, there are some pretty crazy vegan scientists out there and they do some amazing work. Keep it up, y'all are so cool. And they just make the most delicious, crazy vegan mock meats and food and replications, and that always blows my mind, but there's still a fair share of gross vegan things out there, let's just be honest. Oh, this just made me think of another hilarious thing that vegans do. There's a couple different vegan food accounts that I followed on Instagram for a while, and there's the stigma about being vegan. You always talk about being vegan, and here I am on camera talking about being vegan, so I'm kind of furthering that point. But when people overtly have to say things are vegan is so crazy to me. Example. So I was just, scrolling on Instagram and someone had posted a snack that they were having, and it was apple slices and peanut butter. Like, just peanut butter and apples, that's it. And they literally put in the caption, here's my vegan apples and peanut butter, #vegan life. Like, what? Apples and peanut butter it's vegan. It just already is vegan. You didn't do, like, that's just so confusing to me. Like, when people overly use the term vegan, like, what would make apples and peanut butter not vegan in the first place? It just is. It's not an animal product. I just don't get that. And to play devil's advocate, there are some situations where it makes sense. Say, you're posting a picture of mac and cheese, and this has even happened to me before. Say I posted a meal on Instagram stories and I'm like, look at this delicious mac and cheese I just made. People will reply and be like, oh, I thought you were vegan. Like, why are you eating mac and cheese? And so I get it. In that situation, if you want to be like, ooh, look at my homemade vegan mac and cheese, just to clarify, because cheese isn't normally a vegan thing. So I get that if you want to say my vegan cheese or my vegan chicken wings or whatever, something that is inherently not vegan. But there is no reason why you need to say a vegan apple. I just don't get it. Vegan apple. A vegan apple. Okay, the next thing that I want to talk about that, actually, I don't even know if this is like something that's annoying about vegans, but maybe just more of a learning curve for me. It was so frustrating that for a while on YouTube, the whole vegan community was convinced that being a raw vegan was the ultimate health choice. Now, if you don't know what raw vegan is, it basically is when you eat raw foods. And by that I mean like uncooked broccoli. You eat nothing that gets heated over a certain temperature. So like not even a hot soup, or like no cooked potatoes. Everything is truly in its raw form. And you just eat like that for every single meal. So like you're just eating raw vegetables, nuts and seeds and fruit. And there was, bizarrely enough, a long period of time where we all just thought that was okay, or like that was the only way, and that if you didn't eat either raw tofu or all these raw foods, that was bad, or like that eating oils and fats was bad. Don't mind me, I'm just gonna have a sip of my vegan water. Anyways, that was truly just a whack time. I don't know, I'm just kind of glad that I feel like majority of this community has kind of realized that just eating a whole foods, plant-based, balanced diet is the way to go. I mean, at least that's what I've discovered. And not to say everyone's body's different. I'm obviously no doctor. Like, you do what you gotta do. But yeah, for a while, the fact that we all thought eating like 20 banana smoothies was a move is like kind of crazy. So yeah, I think that's kind of everything off the top of my head that I want to talk about. And hopefully this marks the beginning of a Jaclyn that talks more about being vegan, or showing you guys veganism in a more positive light. And I guess just kind of not being afraid to put it all out there and just be honest. And yeah, I don't know. I'm curious if you guys actually, I mean, if you guys who are vegan or non-vegan agree with any of this or disagree. That'll be very interesting. I know the comments on these types of videos are always gonna be a little cray-cray, but I'll be monitoring them. I'll be trying to, hop in, have a productive conversation. But yeah, let me know if you guys do want to see more videos kind of talking about things like this. I don't know, maybe doing some more plant-based cooking videos. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I dare someone to count the amount of times that I said vegan in this video. I swear if I have to say it any more times, I'm going to lose my mind. But thanks guys so much for watching. Stay hydrated, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.